Ah, hey, we're back. I'm angry. This fucking internet just broke. Where was I? What was the last thing I said before I was violently ripped from this digital conundrum? I think something about the, how's it called again? Yeah, like the home console market was just kind of locked down since the PlayStation 1. I mean, I still can't tell you why, but like, listen, nearly everyone had a PS1 and especially a PS2. Those things sold so utterly well. Like, I mean, for example, even this in this household, you know, Agonia, she is definitely a Nintendo girl. Like, hey, you know, you have an SNES, you have an N64, you had a GameCube, you have a Wii. Girl,
I don't like that description.
You grew up on Nintendo consoles, and that's
I
just
grew
a
up
fact.
with it. Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like that.
You have a Game Boy Color.
I like good games.
I know. You are very much a GameCube enthusiast, though.
There are some good games on the GameCube. Yes.
Okay, now you're holding back. Every time I say the PS2 had a great lineup, you're like, oh, it's not as good as the GameCube.
No, it had a good lineup.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
Hey, but the point I wanted to make, you heard how many Nintendo consoles she has. You know what the game is that she tells... You know what the games that she tells me the most about are? Anya 1 and Digimon World. Guess on which console she has those? Oh, Alundra also. Another one she wants me to play. Again, guess the console.
I also wanted to play Pikmin 2, and you played Pikmin 1.
That is fair. I still need to get to Pikmin 2.
There's no point in you playing Super Smash Bros. Melee because you're just plain bad at the game.
I wish I wasn't that, but I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know why. Melee just is kind of an Einheitsbrei, and I don't know how to play.
Yes, your biggest problems is still how do I do smash attacks?
It's just, it doesn't work. Who did this? Anyway, meanwhile, I can say that, you know, in my current family, it's like, well, at least, like, I had a PS2, I have a PS3, I have a PS4, we have a PS5. Okay, technically we also have a PS1 in this relationship, but, yeah. But, guess what? My first on-board console was an Xbox 360, actually. That I played, that I enjoyed, that I have some fond memories of. And... basically discarded the moment I had a PS3. Like, listen. I don't hate on my Xbox 360, but... the best use it had was getting it to, getting it into back to school, hooking it up to the dormitory TV, and it was a Halo machine. Crysis 2, actually. I don't know why I played on that console, but I did. Anyway. Backstory time. But yeah, you really think a small cube from Valve will take those people on? Like, listen. As much as there is a growing market of digital games, you know why digital consoles, all digital consoles never fucking manage to do anything? Because turns out people want to fucking have physical media. So, you can bet your ass the PS6 will still have a Blu-ray disc drive. It will still play all my old PS4 and PS5 games. So if I want to have a console for the next, for the next 7 to 10 years, it's gonna be another PlayStation. Because why wouldn't it? Again, I can just play my old games. And also, crucially, like, okay. There's a certain irony in the fact that, I do think, Don Metric actually kind of noticed a few things. He just had no fucking clue how. Because, here's the thing. Consoles are kind of multimedia centers nowadays. And that's not in the negative sense. The primary function should always and has to be to play games. Also, you can share games. You own games. You can sell games with them. Physical media is still there and it's still big. Okay? It's one of the most crucial parts why normal people have consoles. They don't want to own their games digitally only. The least want that. And there's like an irony in the fact that that just keeps being misinterpreted, because then people are like, oh yeah, but the new the Xbox Series S was the most sold Xbox this gen. Yes, was it because it was digital only, or was it because the thing was dirt cheap? And basically everyone ditched them the moment they realized, wait, this thing just plays games like ass. And I can just buy a PS5. But, I mean, I guess we had Microsoft being like, well, how about we sell a digital-only Xbox? Xbox Series X. With, like, the genuine thought, oh yeah, because, the S sold, so it probably was the digital thing. Okay. Can we just talk about the fact that Microsoft is the most inept company, and the only reason they are not failing is because they sit on mountains of blood money? And that is bullshit. Because either these fuckers start caring for once and do their job, but it's embarrassing to watch that they keep making stupid vanity things and just be like, well, I guess that didn't work out. Let's make it, let's just write it off. We have the money. Like, you know what, this is probably more interesting to talk about than the whole Valve situation. Because here's the thing. Valve is kind of doing the same, but at least they're doing it in a way that's like not stupid, but they're also just... Okay, here's the thing. The whole Valve hardware scheme nowadays is throw shit at the wall they just kind of want to do, and for some reason nowadays it's hardware instead of just developing games again. Where it's left for that 2 Source 2, you could have done that the whole time instead of a stupid new controller that probably no one wants to buy anyway. So, small rant incoming. The thing is, all of the hardware they announced now, and from what I also hear, apparently the headset is apparently, again, going to be more expensive. Which is like, why? Anyway, the thing about the VR headset is I generally think this is the most sensible thing they made in a long time because, as I said before, the only headsets you kind of can look at that have, you know, hand tracking and all of that on PC with good quality that, you know, don't fucking end you financially and are not from Facebook are basically the PlayStation VR 2 and this one, probably. At least, I hope so. It would be very fucking funny if it turns out this thing is 1,000 euros again, because at that point I'm just like, how stupid are you? I swear. I swear a lot, but like, fuck. I mean, we need someone, like, the VR space deserves someone making a better headset than fucking Facebook. You know? That's a thing they deserve. I do think that's fine. But the rest? That's literally for the stands. Not even to buy, but to circle around. Because, like, again, I said it before, no, there is no real market for the Steam Cube. There isn't. You know, aside from the fact they say, look, it's portable, but then there's no carrying handle on it. Like, fucking Nintendo figured that shit out, okay? Also, again, oh hey, you can get it with like 500 something gigabyte or 2 terabyte. So there's gonna be a cheap version with no space, but you can slot micro SD cards in, and a expensive version that probably makes it more like only, you know, people with too much money and that just want to have Valve branded hardware for some reason will buy. This is why I said before that I do think Valve is turning a bit into Apple recently. Not as bullshitty, but it's basically the same. It's basically this is a product that is not made as a serious competitor to anything. It's just something that their fans can look at and pretend it's a competitor. Because, like, as much as I say the Steam Deck isn't a bad piece of hardware, and again, if I had one, I would use it. Listen, the nicest estimates say they sold around 6 million. There's a reason they are not, they're just saying, it's going great! And, you know, don't release numbers. The moment someone says it's going great, but don't release numbers, it's going miserably. That's literally how it goes. It's the same with Microsoft. They were like, guys, the Xbox One is going great! What do you mean the highest estimates are 40 to 50 million? Which is, you know, technically respectable, but, you know, then again, keep in mind most of these sales were in the USA. And in Japan, it ran so miserably. There were reports that sometimes the average amount of sales in a month amounted to 2. Imagine sales data comes out and it's like you sold in the whole country 2 Xbox. That's bad. And there's a reason they are not telling you for the Xbox Series X, because guess what? combined, their estimates are 20 million.
You're a lifesaver.
Again, it's over. It was never more over. And now you tell me a small mid-range PC is a competitor to the PlayStation 5. Yes. You know what? I'm not that much of a Dark Souls fan that I want to fight the Delulu end boss. It is a bit too hard. Anyway. Oh well. By the way, I hope you're all hearing me again. Chat, like, if you hear me, just tell me, because I don't know if it reconnected and if everything is working. What the fuck was that? But, yeah. It's, that's the thing. This is just a lot, oh, this is a competitor. No! It's not even a competitor to normal PCs, because again, you need to actively ignore everything about a PC. Even if you want to use Linux. You need to actively ignore everything. Do not build your own PC. And I said before, there are only two types of PC owners. Shitting money and balling on the budget. And both do not need this thing. I guess, you know, if you're shitting money, again, if you're shitting money and you want to have some Valve branded hardware for some reason, go for it. But once again, everyone else? Why? You want to upgrade your PC? Either your PC is upgradable, then don't. You will save money. Or try getting yourself an AM5 build. You will save money. This is just like a fact. You don't want to have a fixed hardware PC that you can't upgrade. You lose all the upsides of a PC. And the thing with the Steam Deck is, at that thing, yeah, that makes sense. Because while it is basically a not really powerful PC, you can play games on the go. The Cube? Well, it's small and it has Valve branding. Those are their upsides. But again, you want a new PC? Build one. I am that serious. Build one. Or ask someone to help you build one. Like, especially if you have a PC. You know how much you can even save? If you have a solid PSU still, okay? And a bunch of people sometimes overspend on the PSU without knowing. Cool. A 600 to 800 wattage PSU. If you have that in, you don't need a new one. Wow, bam, you just saved on one component. Maybe your GPU is also still pretty solid. You have a 1080? Why do you need to upgrade now? Save that fucking money. Your case fits a normal motherboard? Well, you still want to keep your case? It's fine. Just use it. the things on a, you know, CPU upgrade mainly. And this is why I will like always keep saying, if you want to upgrade your PC, never ever think in full upgrade ranges, okay? Never do that. Because if you can afford that, then you're shitting money. Buy a good one. Buy a 580 and just leave us alone and just get yourself a good PC that in a few years you can maybe slap in a better CPU. Okay? But if you're balling on a budget, look what you don't need to buy. You know, when Agonia's... so, here's the thing. When I got together with Agonia, she had, like, actually a very interesting PC, which was, I think, a mini ATX board, even. But it was, like, laying on the side. It's pretty nice. I still like that case, so... Maybe one day I'm gonna be cheeky and build, like, an AM4 thing in there with, like, make it, like, a home server thing or so. Would be a good use for that thing. Let me tell you. So, we basically were like, fuck, can't put an average, you know, new mainboard in there. And, yeah. I think... But, you know, I got her a relatively solid GPU. I got her a relatively solid PSU. Something where we actually watched out. Like, it's 650 or so, I think, even. 650 watts. So, actually, she has some headroom. I could upgrade her CPU still. Or GPU. But, you know, for example, we're like, wait a second. She still had a really old PC case. You know, like one of the, you know, early 2000s gamers PC case. And the only thing we realized were that, so yeah, modern GPUs were a little bit too wide. So you just had to leave the side open. Else you would have had banger ventilation. I mean, she had the fucking side was open. But anyway. Yeah, but we could just, you know, I did that, but you know, we saved on the case. That was already a few €100. Easy. And then when the next upgrade came, we just had a case. We had another case. We could just slap a lot of stuff in. We could reuse the GPU, which was, I think, a 1060. So, you know, reused GPU, reused PSU, reused the CPU fan, all of that stuff. And trust me, upgrading a PC, you think it's daunting until the moment you realize it's not really. The moment you actually make it a piecemeal affair. But like, hey, you know what about the whole competition thing? I think the irony is that overall, Microsoft apparently, at least from my view, apparently does seem to think that they are now in a competition with Valve, which is fucking hilarious. Because that means Microsoft spent billions to become an IP graveyard, to beat Sony, then realize they can't beat Sony because, I mean, sorry. How? I mean, if we actually agreeing on the idea of, you know, names of consoles matter a lot, and I will dispute that because, like, listen, parents aren't uneducated buffoons. They know how to use Google. Hey, my mom knew the difference between Xbox and PlayStation, and she has no interest in gaming at all. My fucking uncle knew that, and he's blind. Like, I am not buying the whole names are confusing people. Because again, a literal blind person was able to distinct this shit. So, no. However, I will not deny that, you know, the name PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4... Like, remember when people after the PlayStation 3 were like, they probably need to change it up, like, just going through numbers. They can't keep doing that. And so it was just PlayStation 4. PlayStation 5. And you know the next one is the PlayStation 6. But the irony is, I don't think there is a better console naming scheme ever. It's just the station where you play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It just, like, genuinely works. I mean, you know, now that I think about it, ever thought about how Sony basically did the shitty, did basically naming conventions from, you know, those very shitty, impersonator consoles? You're probably like, wait a second. But here's the thing. If you look at really shitty you know, those Chinese garbage crap that is basically just sold to confuse people, they always have something like play system or, you know, similar in the name, because they want to reinforce this idea that this is a thing to play on, which, you know, especially back in the day made sense, because, like, I think, you know, end of 90s, early 2000s, I think more parents were ignorant of what a console is. Like, there's a reason a lot of them just call it a Nintendo, especially in the USA, because they at least recognized the brand. They didn't realize what a Nintendo... like, there are a lot of stories that a lot of parents back then were just like, well, that's the, you know, that's a Nintendo, and they just didn't understand what is the difference between an NES and Super SNES, even though I'm gonna be really clear here. They could if they actually gave a shit for a second or asked someone. But like then, no. But again, at least when Google became a thing, I think that stopped being relevant. But still, no better branding than just saying this is the console your kid plays games on as the name. It's like, yeah. No shit, people would buy that console. I don't even want to know how many kids probably wanted, because that's the other thing. A lot of children didn't even know about what console they wanted. Like, I remember, okay, that like there are a lot of concepts for children that, you know, when they look back, when nowadays it's talked about, that they are like, oh, people are like, oh, you know, children were always like, no, teenagers cared about what might have been the best console at the time, okay? Teenagers were obnoxious. Hi, bot, by the way. Children who most are looking for, none of they just were like, they want the console. You know, the one the others have. Only afterwards they will usually realize, shit, I need to actually watch out for the differences between whatever the system is, because yeah, again, in the early 2000s, a lot of parents just didn't give a shit. They were like, well, this is a game, it runs on a system, so it should just be the one we have. And it's like, anyway, but nowadays, nah. Like, especially at the 2010s, no one could tell me that that people didn't know what they were getting into with consoles. And still, the 7th gen, I think, played out as it did. Because everyone never analyzes markets. Like beforehand, yeah, sure. The PlayStation just worked because fucking parents just understood the labeling 1, 2, 3, 4. And even then, I know instances of some just, you know, buying an Xbox game and being like, wait, this isn't working on my console. Then going to the store and complaining to the clerk, why is an Xbox game not running on the PlayStation? And that clerk just looked at them and went like, are you stupid? No, seriously, I saw that. A Karen went bananas on a MediaMarkt person, and he literally just fucking shouted, are you... Basically a very harsh insult. I think it was demented.
Yeah.
And, like, I know, but like... You know what? I probably would have also snapped. I am not blaming him. That's a thing that was hidden to my mind. Also, that Karen literally were like, oh, she was like, how can you do that? I want to speak to the manager. And then the manager came, and you know what the manager told her? Are you demented? Because he's like, literally, these things are fucking color-coded. And she was just too fucking, you know, lazy to check anything. And she did the whole, I will never buy again at the store. I saw her at the store again. There's one tech store in town. Guess where they all went? LMAO. Anyway. Anyway, the thing I want to point out is just, after 2010, people knew how to fucking, like, the majority of people knew how to fucking Google shit. So like, I know people were like, you know, the average person couldn't understand the difference between a Wii and the Wii U. Yes, they could. Like, from all naming schemes, that one... okay, not only that, naming schemes and branding. I do think the Wii U was not even the worst offender of all time. The thing is just, no one wanted a sequel to the Wii. It's simple as that. And I do think even Nintendo just didn't realize that. They just were like, okay. Here's the thing, okay? The Wii U, on paper, isn't a bad console. Hell, I like the Wii U. It has some good games. You can play Wii games on it. I've actually thought of getting a second Wii U just to add to my streaming setup, simply because, I mean, mainly it was to, so I wanted to play Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate together with Agonia, you know, until we realized the Wii U version quite literally doesn't support LAN between consoles. Which is insane to me. There is a LAN mode, but it has to be console and 3DS. Once again, who drank the paint? Anyway. Overall, it's not a bad console. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and be like, if you are someone who really liked the Wii and had a lot of Wii games and played primarily on the Wii, it completely makes sense to buy a Wii U. And you knew that. And you knew all about that. So why didn't? Because, yeah, the Wii was a one-time thing. Like, people forget that the majority of sales on the Wii, like in terms of software sales, were really fucking bad. Like, not good, even for first-party titles. They were just not selling. And that's odd. Because if you have a console, okay, even if that generation is going bad, okay, like let's just say, for example, the GameCube, you can still, you know, estimate an average amount of games bought per user of your system. You can do that. It's not the hardest thing to do. Like, in fact, this is how, for example, the PS4 was priced even. Like, quite literally. Because, quite literally, Sony was just like, hey, on average, people bought 2 games per system on the PS3. So, if people, so they priced the PS4 like, if someone buys a PS4 and buys at least 2 games, they're making money. If they buy a third game, that's profit. Just hand over cash. That's the thing. The GameCube was the same. Like, how much? I think the average GameCube collection, even for a child, averaged around 4 to 6 games. That is a good amount of software sales. That is actually a really good amount of software sales. The Wii was 1 to 3. And, now you're probably like, what the fuck? Trust me when I tell you, this is not, this is just not even really counting the free game. Because the thing is, the majority of people who bought a Wii didn't see it as a console. They saw it as the Wii sports machine that you buy for basically 100 euros. And then, you know, the children are like, well, we want a bit more. And then the parents are usually like, fine, Wii Party. A Wii Play was it, right? With tanks. I wanted to ask, I wanted to adjust the ill expert, but she's unresponsive. Anyway. Again, that's why the Wii U failed. There was not a market for Nintendo consoles on the Wii. There was just the Wii. It was a Wii tennis machine. You know, it was there so people wanted to play Wii tennis. That was it. And the only other thing people like, when the most sold things on your console are, and I quite literally mean this, it's Wii Play, usually because this was bundled with a second Wiimote, fucking Wii Fit, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii. You know what the you absolutely know what the how's it called, the priorities of your player base are. And it's not investing into the Wii ecosystem. Oh well. God, the yap is going long. I should do an bomb. Da, da, da.
Enemy is controlling the fight. Stay strong.
But yeah.
Oh, you won.
Yeah.
Be advised, we've lost objective Delta. Enemy helo!
Well. Yeah. No, Leopard 2, don't shoot me. Oh. You kill.
Objective Charlie neutralized. Right, we have secured more objectives. Let's hold it. Be advised, we need to raid defense on the marked objective. Alright, friendlies have secured objective Delta. Enemy gas rocket!
Yeah.
Our forces have neutralized Bravo. You're a lifesaver!
The enemy have taken more objectives. Mission recovery in progress. Keep fighting.
Oh well. This is not going well right now. Absolutely not. Huh? I should have really slept a bit today for streaming. Oh well, happens. Ah, nice. Yeah, we've had it since launch and trying to learn it, but it's a weird experience, I would say. I mean, it's probably just a better game to play, you know, single player anyway. But yeah. How do you like it so far?
Our forces have neutralized objective Charlie.
And we're kind of also doing extra rounds on Saturdays if it works out. I have not unpaused it yet. Ah! There's a lot you have to actually... Like, there's the, you know, oh, hey, you start Wiki 3. And it's like, oh, gotta put all the things in, and then it works. And then EU5 is, you gotta put all the things in. But it's just like triple the amount. It's weird. I like the mechanics, but something feels off. Probably because it's just... Okay, the weirdest thing is, EU5 simultaneously has a lot of stuff going on, but nothing really going on.
Not much is happening.
Not much is happening. It is progressing and stuff happens, but also somehow this, I mean, while it feels very appropriate, it feels also too slow. And oh boy, there's an irony in the fact that Wiki 3 announced their next gameplay update just a few days later, and it sounds really good. Yeah.
We're attacking Charlie. Our forces have neutralized Bravo.
I mean, mainly still playing the Ottomans. Okay, I tried playing a small country in the HRE. We wanted to start around with Naples and Castile, but that is on ice until Argonia feels better.
I technically feel better.
Well, that's
You just already changed.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm doing shooty bang bang. Oh, why did they die? Ah. Anyway, hey, what's your country here that you are still aiming at. Okay, by the way, you all want to have a good laugh? Basically,
Thank you.
basically, some fucking weirdo on Twitter posted a basically an unhinged copy pasta worthy text about Battlefield. And it's just like okay. How much cringe are you able to take in?
I have gay shit in my system. I think I can take a cringe.
Okay, I just realized, as a hashtag Battlefield vehicle player, it feels like I'm living in the 1800s. I'm a minority. I get insulted for what I am. I am not heard when I complain in public. I get no support. The general public would prefer me gone. I'm just tolerated. It's discrimination.
I'll get it.
It's
So they are in a minority and feel like in the 1800s.
Yep.
It still doesn't tell me what they are.
It's too unspecific, the discrimination you're referencing.
Yes. Are they discriminated because they're missing a leg?
No, I mean, this is not how the 1800s were anyway, but anyway,
I don't know.
it's like living in the 1800s.
You're discriminated by architecture most of the time.
That's fair, but like, you know, oh hey, it probably means a religious minority. In that point, I'm just like, okay, are we talking Europe? Because Europe tolerated a lot of them actually, to a degree. Do we really need to talk about the Ottomans? I mean, the 1800s, it got worse there, yeah, but still, it's so
Oh,
fucking
they still
funny.
had anti-Semitism.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it just was depending on where you
That's
are.
what they mean.
What?
So maybe that's what they mean.
Which is still a very fucking shitty comparison.
Oh yeah, of course. It's but at least it makes the point clear. Of course, if you see an enemy vehicle player, you want them gone. Or at least the vehicle.
Yeah, it's like,
Which I guess they equal themselves with possible vehicles. And yes, everybody wants to kill the vehicle.
it's like hyper minority. No, you think you're special and they should listen to you. Like, fucking get off your high horse, and don't make these absolutely bullshit comparisons.
I have no idea about the state of vehicle play in Battlefield.
It's in a rough state, but that's like not the fucking.
Okay, so it's a very dramatic statement.
Yeah, but it's also just like they need to be catered to, like, buddy, they know that it's in a rough state. They know they're working on it. What is your problem?
The EU5 does probably also know that the game progress is a little bit slow. And
Okay.
you still talked about it. So it's fine. A little drama does spice things up.
I just want to say it is one hell of a writing though.
Yes, yes.
Like, damn.
I'm not even cringing at it. I just found it confusing mostly.
Yeah, obviously you found it confusing. Anyway, No, don't shoot me. I don't want to be shot. I want to shoot. Bye. All and I don't know what that is. For us, it was more like, we had EU5, we had Age of Wonders 4, and, yeah.
Still hold more objectives. We need to hit.
Just kind of, working everything out. Eh.
Objective Charlie neutralized.
Oh, yeah, right. They made the expansion for Crusader Kings 3. Like, I don't know. I haven't played Crusader Kings 3 in a long time because EU5 is slow. Crusader Kings 3 is a crawl. And
I think the general expansion stuff is okay.
oh yeah,
It's still completely weird that you start with Gavelkind all the time. Makes no sense at all.
I mean, just
The way to
like
change it also makes no sense, and the worst part is the research system. Like, except for content and some technical stuff, I think Crusader Kings 3 is a downgrade from 2.
that's the thing. I do think they basically took all the bad mechanics from 2 and then made some like tech actively worse. But then they did all the other stuff that is actually really good. But like the problem is just the foundations are so slow and boring, and you're like, what is going on here? Hey Sarah, it's going great, and I'm ranting about a lot of topics, and someone sequenced Hitler's DNA for some reason. That is hot.
I think you now have a problem because you reacted to something off screen and now you said something.
Yeah,
very-
I know. Why do you put hot girl in my line of sight while I talk about real sequencing the
I'm
Hitler DNA?
reading. I'm reading. That's why.
Yeah.
So,
You
someone
need to
se-
send it to me because I need to make pictures.
somebody sequenced Hitler's DNA, and at the same time, you saw a very hot girl on my screen.
Yes.
And that's hot. Not the other part.
Very hot girls, yes. The girl is hot, not Hitler's DNA. Hitler's DNA can go to hell. Anyway, yeah, this is a lot going on. Like, for example, the whole new Valve hardware thing, where I point out that aside from the how's it called, VR headset, and again, we need to know the prices, and apparently they're still holding them back because reasons. It's all just very stupid, and I called it performative, which is just, yeah, I don't know. you doing, by the way? Oh yeah, if you're wondering, the stove saga has a conclusion. We have a new stove as of today, and it's nice. Still need to adjust to a few things. Oh yeah, hey, PSA for everyone. If you have, one of those filters that sucks up air from your stove when something cooks on that, clean the filter and replace it like every year. I realized that I can do that today, and it was eye-opening and very greasy in there. I mean, I don't think it's worthwhile. As I said already on Twitter, I do think if you want to, if you have a console, you will stick with a console. If you want a PC, buy a PC. It is legitimately better for you, because never ever think of a PC upgrade as I said, there are two types of people who own PCs: shitting money and balling on a budget. If you shit money, buy a 580, make yourself a really strong PC, be happy. If you're balling on a budget, do not fucking buy the small box that is locked. Like, that is what everyone thinks. Oh, if the price is right, then it might be... Listen, the price will not be below 500 euros. I guarantee you that. Because the thing is, Valve's whole hardware strategy recently has been to sell things at a price where they make profit. Period. This is why they can keep making the Steam Deck, even though, again, the best estimates for sales are 6 million. That is not a lot of Steam Decks. They're not exactly making money off of it. It's just priced in a way that it's not making them any loss. So this computer will be the same. And again, if you're basically just like, it's a stronger Steam Deck, but you need to provide all the peripheral stuff, buy a PC. Because again, the moment it goes above 500 euros, be smart and build a PC. You can reuse your old case, you can reuse a lot of CPU fans. If your PSU is good, keep your PSU. Upgrade to AM5, then you're set for the next 10 years. You have also DDR5, the same fucking thing they use, and RAM is pretty easy to upgrade actually, so who cares? 16GB is one thing. Being able to upgrade 16GB to 32GB or 64GB, that's another thing, by the way. And if you're, for example, playing Paradox Interactive games, you want that. Anyway, also the thing is, if you build your own PC, especially if you take a Ryzen processor, again, this is an AMD build anyway, you can just fucking buy an AM5 and again, keep upgrading it. I literally learned that. Like, if you set up a new AM5 one, then you need to install Windows once, but for the rest of you using AM5, the only thing you need to do is screw up, remove the CPU cooler, clean it a bit, remove the CPU, new CPU in, new paste, cooler on, done. It works out of the box. It is that simple. I mean, hell, if you want to, if you tell me what you roughly play and what you have in your PC already, I could give you some recommendations. Again, general recommendation: get AMD. Period. Because again, they stay on one socket for over a decade, and they keep supporting those sockets long. Like, there are still AM4 CPUs coming out nowadays, and they're good. When the 5800 X3D came out, the one I have, it was the strongest CPU on the market, and barely $300. No, AMD for CPUs. I mean, you can also get AMD for graphics. The thing is just, okay, the thing with graphics cards is this. AMD's, how's it called? Also, by the way, AMD for CPU, yeah, also Intel CPUs had, massive problems in the latest generation. So again, AMD is also just safer in the CPU market, period. Yeah, the thing is with graphics cards, AMD is the budget option, and here's the thing, their GPUs are fine. You can get one, and they will run. The reason why you would want to have, also, the main difference is, AMD GPUs, so the graphics cards, mainly are for raw power. Which means you will have a lot of VRAM and all of that stuff, which is good for most games, okay? But AMD's upscaling technology is okayish. Let's leave it at that. It's okayish. If you want to have upscaling, if you want to have frame generation and all that shebang, NVIDIA. And right now, as much as I have problems with the whole company, and there's gonna be, I mean, the fucking crash is incoming again. The biggest tech investor in Japan just sold all their NVIDIA shares. All of them. That's 20% of their income. It's not looking good for that, it's not looking good for the industry, I tell you that. But the thing is, if you want to actually use stuff like frame generation, upscaling, and all that shebang, you have to use NVIDIA. And this is the thing I hate to say. This is up for preference. And if you, I'm just going to look at it very quickly. That's just online store where I usually buy stuff. GPUs. Okay, let's go RTX. So, a 560 Ti 16GB palette, 420. That is still, you know, that's expensive, but like, yeah. That's still a 3 fans, or like, those cool well and are pretty silent. This is usually what I point at. 560, pretty good one. Yeah. If you don't need as much VRAM, an 8GB 560. There's the thing. I want to say, if you want to play stuff like Battlefield, or, you know, some hardware in intensive ones, you want VRAM of at least 12 or 16. Period. Modern games eat VRAM. If you don't need that and you just want to have a GPU that like churns through nearly all the normal to medium games, and maybe can do some a few higher ones, an 8GB is fine. It's just like, this is me. I like to future-proof. But once again, I will keep telling you, upgrade in steps. If you have the money to say, I can do this at once, more power to you. if you say, hey, I just need to have a new, main board and CPU first with RAM, then focus on that and reuse old stuff. Because, like, what's your GPU right now? Just a big question right here. Open Task Manager, just go onto details. Oh, laptop, yeah. Fair. Okay, that's... Well, then you need to do a full build. But yeah, even at that point, I would say, make a full build that you can keep upgrading. Because, again, if, for example, in a few years you say, those 8 gigabyte GPU I don't need anymore, you can buy a better one and just slot that one in, and you have a better GPU.
To attack the marked objective.
Well, that was weird. Game just tapped me out, but still no crash, so yay.
Cheers! Thank you!
Come on. Honestly, pre-build, no problem. Again, just watch out for some specs. Like, that's the thing with pre-builds. The main thing they usually cheaped out on, and again, it's not the biggest problem nowadays anymore, depending on where you buy it, by the way. They usually cheap out on mainboards, and you do not want to have it cheap out on the mainboard. As long as you have a solid one, from like Asus or something, fine. You can just fine, okay? Just check like what socket, like who delivers in your region, what kind of look at this an AM5 socket probably, and afterwards that should be fine. Actually, like pre-builds are fine. Like, ironically, I would say pre-builds are probably the better choice in this case, because again, if you look at the Steam Cube, it's a custom AMD, it's a custom Zen 4 6-core GPU with like a maximum 4.8 gigahertz rate, which is like, listen, most standard CPUs don't have that, and they probably run better than this thing, because like, this is probably more often, it probably doesn't even run at that most of the time anyway. Like, I have Agonia has a also has a 6-core Zen 4. No, a 6-core Zen 2 and still works. I have an 8-core Zen 4. Again, below 300 euros. That thing shreds the Steam Cube, period. It's just better. And again, you do not know what comes out, or what you want to play, or if you want to upgrade for that. Like, while I turn games like Battlefield down, that's one thing, you know? Also, here's the thing. About the Steam Cube. Again, this is why I don't think it's any competitor to anyone, because like, if you want a PC, buy a fucking PC. Crucial thing here. You can, if you just buy a pre-built PC, it will usually come with Windows. Again, this is the next thing you need to keep in mind. This is why I do think this cube just has problems, and this is one I will keep repeating over and over and over again. Valve genuinely just ignores the most played games on their platform when it comes to their operating system. And I mean that. Because the whole cube and the controller are basically built around the idea, do you play Counter-Strike 2 or Dota 2? And here's the thing. Most people don't. Counter-Strike and Dota 2 player are just weird people that only play Counter-Strike and Dota 2. And again, Counter-Strike people won't buy the fucking Steam Cube. Because they're Counter-Strike people. Counter-Strike people build high-end PCs that could churn out this game, like Battlefield 6, on Ultra, with like 4K, 120 FPS consistently. Because they want to have like a gazillion frames in Counter-Strike, because apparently being over 200 frames isn't enough. It has to be more. This is the kind of group we're talking about. Again, why is every fucking controller still made to basically be a Counter-Strike controller from Valve? Why? Why is this why is that the case? It's so odd. Again, to a degree, it's just weird vanity things that they make where they don't, lose money on. So, a small, basically, brand knights can pretend for a while that they are a serious hardware competitor. To whom? To PCs? No. You want a PC, get a pre-built, and keep upgrading, because this just saves you fucking money. And if you want to, and again, if you ever say, oh hey, I want to play games like Battlefield, War Thunder, Call of Duty, like any modern multiplayer game, okay? You will run into the one problem that is modern anti-cheat. Because here's the thing. The Linux faction has basically decided that the only way to address this problem is to simply say, it's not needed. Which is a lie. It's a delusional lie. It's literally lying because, you don't want to admit the fact that, listen, there's a problem with Linux right now, and this is why, gaming on Linux would never take over, even if people would genuinely want to switch off from Windows nowadays. Like, here's the thing. Everyone who plays something that isn't Counter-Strike or Dota, so, using the Valve anti-cheat system, is basically unable to play on SteamOS, because these games have kernel level anti-cheat. Now people are like, oh no, why? And is this even needed? Aren't there better methods? Right now, no. And I know some are just like, oh, this is just an excuse for big companies to steal your data. Listen, you are the modern equivalent of 9/11 truthers at this point. Like, I get companies wanting data, but companies do not need to install spyware in your kernel to get the data that makes them money. Because you idiot posted on Facebook anyway, or social media. Like, there's so much more data that is more relevant than something in the kernel level. Yeah. And that's the next thing. See, either you want to play games. Yeah, it's just, listen, you look at the fact that that you probably want to play multiplayer games, and these multiplayer games have decided, rightfully, if they want to curb cheating, they need kernel level anti-cheat. Listen, I played Battlefield 5 when it was out, and it wasn't even a popular game back in the day. And there were still cheaters everywhere. Because if you don't... Because it's a shitty arms race, and if you want to be angry at anyone, it's at this point in time, ironically, not the big studios or big corporations that just had to look down the barrel of people are doing bullshit. And ironically, Counter-Strike 2 is full of cheaters. Team Fortress 2 is full of cheaters. There are a lot of cheaters in Valve games nowadays. I wonder why. And you know, this is, you know, despite VAC being like the first foray into good anti-cheat, by the way. It's just like, I wish, and I said this multiple times, Valve would actually sit down and say, hey, we work together with the big companies, and kernel level anti-cheat is working on SteamOS. Period. At that point, I would fucking banish Windows from my machine and Agonias and install SteamOS. Period. Because I also would like to switch to Linux. Most people would like to switch to Linux at this point simply because they hate Microsoft. That is a fact. People hate Microsoft. It has to be just acknowledged that a lot of games that are really popular cannot be played without kernel level anti-cheat, because else they would be hellholes. Quite literally. But again, if you don't need that, once again, I'm asking you, what does sound up? You know what? I'm just looking at some pre-built machine. PC pre-builds. Who's a good one? You know what? Alternate. Why not? You know what? MediaMarkt. Let's look at what the biggest one offers here. Okay, listen. And a lot of them are usually bullshit. But okay, what do we have in here? This is like quite literally. This is, you know, much more interesting. Let me look at this. There's some old ones, but yeah. Some things are boosting the, okay, so, hey, the first one that is getting recommended. 1 terabyte SSD, RTX 560, Windows 11 Pro is already installed, because that's usually, you know, I'm just looking at the, like, the main website of the biggest, you know, German tech market, and AMD 5700X, 32 gigabyte RAM, 900 euros. That's... yeah. Again, if that cube is like... 600 to 700 euros, you need to just ask yourself, do you want to spend 200 more and just have a beast? And, you know, a beast with... I see where they're skimping. It's still, AM4. But it would still be a pretty good one. I see it. Anyway, alternate. Let's see what they have here. The cheapest ones. Oh, here's an 800 one. So, what do we get in here? A 350 Ventus 2. That's a fine one. Again. Or, you know, if you want to add like 69 euros, nice, you can upgrade to a 550. Also fine. So they have some options here what you can put in there. Or 84, you know, BAM 560. Like you can get a solid one for like 800 to 900 euros, and that's fine. Like, look at looking at the processor. Yeah, most of them use AM4, but it's also, again, most AM4 processors are still good. And Valve is using them. Like, that's the budget options, and they're good. Like, and those are ones with cases and all of that that you can upgrade yourself. And that's the thing, because the moment that's the, and I would say the moment it's at 600 to 700 euros, yes. But even if it's at 500, keep in mind, you can still do shit on your own, because, you know, I'm just, you know, roughly proving my point here. Sorry, we will have a walk soon. Okay, you need, let's just go very rough. We're doing the absolute budget build on our own. Cooling by air, mainboard, everything. Okay. So, what do we have here? NZXTH 2000 without the PSU for 98 euros. So that's 100 euros on a good case. Be Quiet, Pure Base, also 100 euros. So you will probably have something like that between 60 and 100 euros, and they have some pretty good offerings here. And you can make them actually pretty quiet if you look out for what you get. So they can be like, I build most of my PCs to be quiet, which is nice. I think people want quiet stuff. But like, yeah, here, Be Quiet, Pure Base 600, 84 euros, 60 euros. No, you know what? 46 euros. Oh, hey, someone made a more 2000 style one. A retro one. 33 euros. What do you have in here? You know, this is a rough one, but it has everything you probably want to. What do you? It's M80X. Okay, I see. That would be a bit of a problem. But this one has ATX, Micro ATX, ITX. Okay. So let's go 46 euros. That's literally the one we're taking right now. So 46 euros, that's a case. Okay, next up, let's buy a main board. So you want to probably go for AM5 because that's gonna be the next, that's just gonna be the thing for the next years. Okay, here, MSI AM5. Let me just look for AM5. Let's makes it a lot easier actually. Or it just makes it those. Anyway, and then we have one from MSI. That's a good company with everything you want. 142 euros. So 200 euros, and we already have basically the base stuff. You want to have some okay, how much RAM do you want? The Steam thing comes with 16 gigabyte RAM. So they really want you to sell the expensive stuff, you know? That's a problem. DDR5 RAM is expensive. So, I just sort 16 gigabyte. Let's go. There we go. Okay, that's 79. Okay. So, roughly 80. We had roughly 250 euros now. So, a GPU. Okay. Let's actually make it a let's make it a bit more spicy. Let's go into the RTX model range and let's actually look for a decent GPU. We do not want to skimp on a GPU, okay? So, what do we have here? Let's look at the 550 range. They have some options here, you know. 550 and yeah, you can basically get a good one here. Let's just go with Palette, I guess. Palette is a pretty solid one. I don't know if they are sold in the USA. Hey, here. If you don't even want to do that big of a stuff, you can also go with MSI Ventus. It's just a tour one, but like, hey, 8 gigabyte 550, that should cover most of stuff. Again, you say you want to use Linux, so you probably just want to have a solid GPU, but you know, something to amp up. So we just jumped from 250 to 500. So now we already have a case, a main board, RAM, and the GPU, and we have 500. Okay? And this is already an AM5 build, so they're good. Good. Let's just look at a Ryzen monitor, Ryzen CPUs. We want AMD. Yes, thank you very much. So we do not need the highest end model for you. Obviously, we just want to have an AM5 model because, again, this is the beauty of this one. Because if you build one yourself, and if you like maybe do the same for your partner also later, if you have a partner, that is, depending on who of you actually is more invested into in gaming, you could just get better hardware and hand the older one down, which saves money. Anyway, by the way, if you want to really be balling on a budget, AM4 is like going for 72 euros, so that's still pretty. Again, they're using AM4 in the Valve one anyway, so we're not going for one of the Ryzen 5 9600 because they are really fucking stupidly strong and expensive. So price range, let's just make it at best maybe, you know what, give me a 50. Okay, what do we get here? There we go. AMD Ryzen 5 507F 6 core 370 gigahertz AM5 for 124. We can even get a better one here for. Wait, here's a better one. Wow, for just 99 euros. That's a steal. And that's like this is like the low end of AMD. You can be a bit more, you can go a bit more out, but like the low end of AMD, you can get one for 100 euros. So we are like at 600 euros for your build. You see where I'm going with this when you actually look at the prices of your own? If you don't just get in it with a box and everything. And yeah. So... yep. So we have the lowest one, 99 euros. And bada bing, bada boom. We have the cases, etc., etc. We only now need to go and buy you a power supply unit. Because this thing has to run, okay? You see what I mean with if you actually put some thought into it. It's like, so how much do they need? 130 watts. The PSU is using 64 watts. 65 watts. It's not a lot. You could get away with like a cheap one, but you know what? Let's actually make it, because like again, the better your PSU is, the better you can actually just do stuff. By the way, depending on what AMD processor you buy, some of them actually come with a stock cooler, and these are fine. Like, you want a cooler? Your coolers are like 30 euros. Like, the one I have, well, you know, here, be quiet, 30 euros. Don't need more. So, we're at roughly, you know, 600 euros right now. The only thing really left, so 630 euros, give or take. Am I getting all the components I need? Because for the people I am around and was tech literate, I'm like, you know what? I was in your position a while ago. Like a few years ago, I was that. But the thing is, we have two PCs here, and we just have no money. So either I understood how this shit works and save us money, or like, this is why I find the whole thing, oh, for people without money, this is a good option, and slightly offensive, because it's genuinely, I have no money, and building a PC is better for me. So let's just look here. 550 watts. Okay, you know what? 850 watts, 135 euros. 800 watts, 850 watts, which is fine for the most stuff that you can upgrade to. Like, you have so much headroom. 116 Corsair, that's fine. Yeah, 650 watts, that's still good for stuff, but like, again, if you want to have some headroom, now we're like 700 euros roughly. 700 euros for PSU that gives you headroom to upgrade to better quality stuff if you want to down the line. Now we only do one more thing, because basically you need something to basically put all your stuff on. And there they basically say, oh, you know, this comes with 1 terabyte. Here, Kingston NVMe 3, 1 terabyte, 64 euros. You're at roughly 700, 800 euros with that thing. And that one is future-proof. That one is future-proof and works. And fun fact, you can just keep slotting in NVMe cards. They are really fast. It is, you know what's even funny about this? If you want to be really spicy here, and I did that. We have that, by the way. You can get yourself one of those 1 terabyte NVMe's for like 60 euros, and that is your gaming card, okay? And then you go and just get a normal, here, this is still more than you would need. Like, how much do I still have on here? Just to compare. 237, yeah, 256 gigabyte, a normal SATA SSD. They're fast, but they're not the super fast one. For 21 euros. You're probably now thinking, yeah, why should I have a 1 terabyte really fast NVMe SSD and a cheap 250 gigabytes normal SSD? See, that's the trick here. If you want to be a bit nicer, you hook that one in, you hook both of them in, and on the small one, you just throw your operating system. So you have a full hard drive to just pump your games on. And nothing slows that thing down because the operating system and everything else is on a different hard drive. And that really just comes, again, this comes out at like between 700 to 800 euros. And that's an AM5 one. Again, I will repeat myself. The Steam Cube, while being small and definitely not being, in terms of power, okay, is still an AM4 processor, and you can't upgrade it. And the whole system I just told you, you can still slap SteamOS on. And where was it again? So this is what I mean. If you're balling on a budget, you can still put SteamOS on a PC that you can upgrade down the line. It's like, oh, small form factor. Depending on the case. I mean, it's like, do you really need to have really need to have your PC as small as possible? Probably not. It's a workstation. Cool and quiet would be mine as well. It probably wouldn't be loud. I/O for days, ready for all the peripherals and monitors you can throw. Fun fact, you know where the peripheral machine is? On your main board, you would also have HDMI and a PC screen, and on the on the small GPU, you still have HDMI and PCI Express. And 3 display ports. There are 3 display ports on this thing. I have usually more HDMI than display ports. Yeah, you want to have a 3 monitor setup with this thing? 3 display ports. Custom stuff. 16 GB DDR5, you would have the same. 8 GB DDR4. 8 GB DDR6 VRAM. So you would have the same. You basically would have a better CPU and better specs overall, and you can upgrade with what I propose right now. So you just have to think about, do you want to spend 100 euros more and have an upgradable build that is stronger? And yeah, this one just has 1 HDMI and 1 display port. On the one I told you, you have 3 display ports and 1 HDMI, and that's only on the GPU, because you have 1 more and another one, the 1 more HDMI and 1 more display port on the fucking main board. Because obviously, it's just... Anyway, rant over. Do love a multi-monitor setup. Yeah, on the Steam thing, you have an HDMI port and you have a PCI port. Fine. It's good. It's good. The thing I told you just now with the 8 GB palette at RTX 550, the same. Also, by the way, they say the Cube will have 4K 60 FPS on most games. Bullshit. First of all, they already say they're doing it with upscaling. So, part 1. Part 2, no. No. 4K 60 FPS, even with upscaling, is fucking hard to reach. And like, I have a 5800 X3D. That thing is stronger than that CPU. I have a 470. I can't play most games on 4K 60 FPS. You don't even need that. You want 1080p with really good frame rates. Anyway. No problem. Again, you need to look, see how it is on your end, because I don't know how the thing is. And just to be clear here, by the way, this is like literally top of the line, everything from scratch. You can also buy used GPUs off of eBay. That also lowers the price. You can buy used CPUs off of eBay. That also lowers the price for getting higher end ones. If you want to try that, that is open to you. But yeah. And again, if you can just scrounge up a normal ATX case from someone, you're done. You just saved 100 euros. There. Anyway. No problem. Hope I could help you, because this is a personal topic. Because again, I know I was the same person, but I will always say, if you don't want to use a PC for gaming, have a laptop and get a console. Period. That's just better for you. But if you want to use one for gaming, build your own, because it will save you so much in the long run. Anyway, have a good evening. See you around. Tomorrow's probably EDF again. And I need to still learn how to do lighting in Godot. That's gonna be a fun week. But yeah, have a good night and see you. Bye.